All right. Step 3, production and action. It's time to actually make the movie, finally. Let's shoot it. Okay. Now, the main thing you want to do is pick a date and stick to it. You will find yourself feeling that you need to change the date because things aren't perfect. Don't do it. Pick a date and stick to it. What will inevitably happen is if you try and start changing the date, it's going to be a waterfall effect. You have people that have taken time off work to work on the movie. You have crew people that have a window of time to work on your film before they move on to another film and things like that. And what happens is when you change the date, you have to start calling all of those people and letting them know that the date has changed and we're going to shoot on a different date. And it just turns into a nightmare because what winds up happening is some people can do it, some people can't. Some people want to start bringing in their friends to either start with you and they'll start with you and then finish with the person you actually hired, or vice versa. The person you hired will start and then they'll bring in a friend to finish because they have to go to another film, so bring in a supposedly good professional person to come in, and it never works. So you want to pick a date and stick to it. If you really truly have to change the date, that's just something you have to do, and you can let your crew know. But I would really highly suggest to pick a date and stick to it. That way, you make the movie that you plan to make. That's the other thing. I mean, you just don't want to pick a date and then just keep moving it around. And again, this goes back to being a producer. People will test you. People will tell you that they can do it on that date, and then as you get closer to the shoot, things come up. They want to know if they can. They'll want to know if they can move the date. Can we shoot on a different date? Do they have to be there on that date? And you have to step as a producer and say, yes, we're shooting on that date. If you can't make it, I'll recast you or hire someone else to do it. But you can't let your cast and crew get you to the point where you're constantly moving the date because everyone can't be on the same page. You just can't do that. So I can't stress that enough. Pick a date and stick to it. The main thing is just keep shooting. Again, this is where you'll get tested. People will have no problem when it's the hiring process. They're free. They have no problems. They love your script and they can't wait to make your movie. Then once you start making your movie, everything comes up. I can't shoot on a certain date because my mom is coming in from out of town and I'm not going to be around, this, that, and the other. Or you're actually shooting the film and people will just come up with things. I can't come today. I'm sick. I'm this, whatever. Sometimes just because of the way the shooting is going, sometimes the location will have to change. I had a situation once where there were two people in a scene in a car, and the scene, and they were supposed to get attacked by a monster. Okay, and one person hurt themselves and didn't tell me, so they came to the set hurt. And I did not want them working on the film. They were hurt. They really couldn't even do what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to fall down and things like that. They just couldn't do it. So the scene, just the way the scene worked, it didn't work with one person. So we actually had to change the entire scene right before we shot. Now, luckily there were enough different places at the location we were shooting where we could change some things around, and the the scene could be shot with one person and it worked. But the main thing you have to do is just keep shooting. You just can't um, let something come up and say, well, we're finished, we got to stop, this, that, and other. No, keep shooting. Another thing, everyone's going to have an opinion, everyone's going to have their thoughts on the way things should go, and you can't do that. You have to stick with your plan you have and just keep shooting. All right, I can't stress that enough. Keep shooting, because if not, you will find yourself in a position where you're constantly stopping and starting, and again, it'll turn into a domino effect. You start running out of time, and then everyone you hired will understand, but at the same time, they're going to have to move on from your movie because they've committed themselves to another movie or back to work or whatever they have to do after the date that you were supposed to be done. So the key to this is just keep shooting. All right. Again, stay on schedule. This sort of goes along with just keep shooting. You definitely want to stay on schedule. If you're supposed to use someone's house on Tuesday, then be there on Tuesday. Because again, it's the dreaded domino effect. Everything starts happening and affecting the next thing if you get off a schedule. So stay on schedule. What you may have to do, and what I've done, and it happens to everyone, is shorten or eliminate scenes to stay on schedule. And what winds up happening is you're the only one that knows that the scene either got eliminated or shortened. Lots of times you can shorten a scene with dialogue, or shortening all the action that happens in a scene, and still get the same effect or close to the effect that you wanted by either shortening or eliminating the scene. But the main thing is you definitely want to stay on schedule, because if you're supposed to move, if you're supposed to be someone else on another day, and this, that, and the other, you don't want to get into the situation where you're just behind schedule the whole time, and you're missing all of your deadlines on dates and times and places that you're supposed to be shooting. You don't want that to happen. Then the next thing is stay on budget. What will happen as the producer or director or both is that once people know that you have a real movie in production, everyone's going to start running up to you saying, hey, we should do this to make the film look better. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to involve spending more money. Try and avoid that. You want to keep your budget at the budget range that I told you. I mean, if it's a small thing, I mean, $10 or something, that's one thing. But when you get into spending hundreds of dollars to try and make your film look better, what winds up happening is you start going over budget, and then when you look back, you see that it really didn't make that big of a difference. So I highly stress staying on budget. You don't want to buy unnecessary things because you think it's going to make the film look better. If you plan in pre-production, you really shouldn't fall into this, but it always in low budget independent filmmaking. It always happens. You start thinking about things that you could buy that would make scenes look better. People will tell you about actors that cost a little bit more than you can afford, that you think are going to make your movie just that much better. Every scenario you can think of will come up when it comes to spending more money. People will spend your money, and don't get caught up in letting them do that. You really just want to make your movie with the budget you have, make the best movie you can make, and move on to the next movie. That's what you want to do. You want to make the best movie you can make with what you have put together, make that movie, and move on to the next movie. All right? That's step 3, production. We're going to move into step 4 after this, and I will see you in step 4.